Rise up in the morning, beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. They'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burnin' Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Brought to you by Stetson Ranches out of Fromberg, Montana. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Happy Friday. Hope the week has treated you well. Hope you got some kick-ass plans for the weekend. And if you don't, well, I bet you wish you had some too. I stumbled upon this idea here the other day when I was recording, and seemed like, one of my crazier conspiracy theories that I make up off the top of my head. There's been a few. None of them really took hold, because, I thought them up at the top of my head, and I might be better at it at this type of thing than your average Joe, but for whatever reason, this one kind of makes sense, and I'll tell you why. Science Squatch is real. Now, if you listened a couple episodes back talking weird cattle stories, I covered some of the, I think they said thousands of unknown cause, unsolved mystery, if you will, of mutilated cattle, and mostly in the western United States, but there's sightings kind of here, there, and everywhere. And what it amounts to is dead cows that are, they find them out in the middle of the desert, typically, and they look to have been partially dissected surgically. There's no blood to be found. There's no tracks from a vehicle or from footprints from a human, or even predator tracks. So it's really weird, and sometimes like the edge of the hide is like cauterized, and it's really weird, but typically the tongue and the eyeballs and the reproductive organs and the butthole are all removed, what appears to be surgically, and there has been no good explanation for it since they really started getting reported back in the 70s. However, like I said, there's reports from earlier of that, but when they first kind of became known, kind of a household name, it was in the 70s, and since then there's been thousands reported, and you've heard everything from satanic cults to lightning strike to poison, or just evil people doing weird, crazy shit. And none of those particular explanations really hold water for me. Like they don't get that, they don't really satisfy anything there. Kind of like, seems kind of like a lazy lazy observation. So I threw out the idea of an advanced civilization of Sasquatch. Sasquatches? Sasquatchi? Getcha why. I'm not sure what the plural of a Bigfoot is or a Sasquatch. But they've been sighted all over the world, as have UFOs, and it just so happens that a lot of the Bigfoot sightings are kind of in the same geographic area as a lot of UFO sightings, and you always hear the stories, or like the old cliche stereotype of like UFO conspiracy theorists is somebody who's been abducted, taken up into the flying saucer, usually gets something jammed up their butthole and wiggled around and tested and possibly pleasured. I don't know. And then they get put back on Earth, and they're kind of crazy people for the rest of their life. What if that same thing happened, but to a Sasquatch, to a Bigfoot? Oh, Bigfoot got the big dick in an alien craft. What if? Well, let's backtrack a little bit. We're getting ahead of ourselves. So there has been theorized by some very well-known, and I don't know if I'd say well-respected. I think depends on what community you're in. But there have been theorized, and let me see, I think I got the book right here. Okay. I got a book that I've not read. Actually, I haven't cracked the cover yet, but I've listened to him on Joe Rogan a couple times. Graham Hancock, called America Before. And what is theorized by Graham Hancock is that we know that a meteor hit the Earth somewhere around 12,000 years ago and caused like a mass extinction of a bunch of species. And after that is when we have kind of, I don't know if I say recorded history, but found history, starting over in the Middle East and then branching out from there. However, there has been ruins of stuff found in the Americas that predate that 12,000 years ago mark. And there is actual evidence of possibly a somewhat advanced society living in the Americas prior to the 12,000 years ago. And of course, if you're a Mormon, you go, yeah, we know, Lost Tribe of Israel and all that. However, since we're talking fantasy here, forget the Lost Tribe of Israel, and let's focus on the Lost Tribe of Sasquatch, which has been spotted all around the world. It goes by different names, whether it be Chupacabra, Yeti, Bigfoot, Sasquatch. There's a few other terms that I'm not a big Sasquatch junkie, so I don't know all the other various names. Abominable Snowman. Anyhow, let's say that this advanced civilization that predates 12,000 years ago, when the meteor struck Earth, caused a bunch of apocalypse, and then humans rebuilt. Well, what if that advanced civilization was the Sasquatch, and they got wiped out. Now, how did the Sasquatch become an advanced civilization? From what we all know about Sasquatch sightings, they appeared to be an incredibly large primate, bipedal hominid, I guess is what they're calling them, and but a primate, opposable thumbs, and huge, just absolutely massive, like 10, 12 foot tall, and I mean, like would tower over, say, Yao Ming or Shaquille O'Neal, and probably outweigh them by several hundred pounds. And then also have the agility of a mountain goat, the reflexes of a cat. But what if they also have the brain power of Albert Einstein or Robert Oppenheimer or what do you know? Bill Nye the Science Guy, maybe. Maybe they'll have that type of brain power. And let's say, because Bill Nye is not a dumb guy, he's a science guy. Not a scientist, but he's a science guy. And Bill Nye is kind of an idiot, but he's not a dumb guy. So let's say the smartest science squatch out there, this advanced race of Bigfoot. Let's say their smartest creature has the IQ, the mental capacity of Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Squatch. That's a meme. Neil deGrasse Squatch. And Squatch. And Bigfoot Galileo. There's so many memes. So, all right, I'm getting sidetracked here. But let's say their most intelligent being is the same mental capacity of Bill Nye the Science Guy, and they happen to be 10 to 12 foot tall, several hundred pounds bigger than Shaquille O'Neal, agility of a mountain goat, reflexes of a cat, and the stinging wit of Bill Murray. Ooh, I don't think they're at that level yet, because they would have taken over the world by now. But let's say, just for shits and giggles, they do have, a society just like ours, probably much smaller because, well, obviously, if there was 7 billion Sasquatch around, that'd be pretty tough to hide, I would imagine. And yeah, I don't know what kind of technology Science Squatch has, but let's say they co-opted some alien technology. What if Bigfoot is an alien? I don't think that's the case. But is Bigfoot progeny of a human and an alien? Or a monkey and an alien? That's something we can dig into a little bit deeper as to what happened when Bigfoot got abducted. Did Bigfoot get abducted? These are the hard-hitting questions that we ask here on Burnin' Daylight. And I've done a little research. And then we're going to go, we're going to follow where this research leads, and we're going to try to connect some loose trails. We're going to connect the dots. We're going to be Pepe Sylvia here. I don't have my little board with all the strings and arrows connecting dots and whatnot, but we're going to try our best. So there is a legend up in Northern California, right around Mount Shasta, about the Lemurians, which it happens to be the last of an advanced civilization that was around about the same time as Atlantis, and they were the 2 dominant civilizations on Earth, the Atlanteans and the Lemurians. And they lived on an island out in the Pacific, huge island that yeah, basically covered the Pacific Ocean. But the island of Lemur, then you had the lost city of Atlantis, or the lost civilization of Atlantis. Two dominant forces on Earth. The Lemurians, being the good guys, wanted to let the other not so evolved civilizations figure it out on their own. And the Atlanteans, not so much. They wanted to basically enslave or have the less advanced civilizations basically be their servants. I don't know about slavery or whatever. I didn't read that far into it. However, that put the two at odds, so they obviously went to war because that's what advanced civilizations do. And then there was a big typhoon, wiped out the city of Atlantis, sunk the island of Lemur, but there's a few that made it through because the island of Lemur being incredibly big and the Lemurians being very advanced, they had technology. So they had people on the continent of North America as well. And they decided to just say the hell with the rest of the earth. And they built a city and a civilization inside Mount Shasta. Some speculate there's up to 1.5 million Lemurians living inside Mount Shasta today. So, no, it sounds crazy, but Donald Trump got impeached twice, once while he was not in office. So, is it really that crazy? Is it really that crazy? So let's say one of the we'll start after the typhoon wipes out the two civilizations or whatever. And there's just a handful of them left. The Atlanteans, I don't know what the fuck happened to them because we're not talking about the Atlanteans right now. But let's say we got the Lemurians, and all of a sudden, civilization's gone. You got a Walking Dead type scenario, except I don't think there was any zombies. Maybe there were. We can add that into the equation later. But right now, let's just say it's dire straits for them. You know, their food's gone. They got to go rummage in the woods, and well, only a handful of them make it out. They survive. You know, they basically evolve into their primate ancestors used. Just a more advanced version of it. But they're hunting and gathering with primitive tools, but here's the thing: they have a little bit of knowledge of that advanced society. Don't have the material at the moment. Well, one of these Lemurians is scrounging around, trying to avoid the rest of the humans on Earth, and because they decide hell with the rest of them, don't want any part of civilization anymore. We're gonna do our own damn thing, and they're traveling at night because that's the safest for them, and boom, here's a flying saucer that just shoots out of the sky, hovers over this old Lemurian Bigfoot, zaps him on up, and well, now he's in a flying saucer. Whole world's been wrecked, and now this strange contraption that's more advanced than anything he's ever seen, and he's seen some pretty advanced shit for the time period. And next thing you know, they're trying to shove a probe up his ass. And that's when he had enough. He said, "No, sir, ain't gonna happen today." And he beats the hell out of these aliens. And, well, I don't know what an alien looks like, but all the kind of the sketches and stuff show them as like small type of creatures with giant heads, long fingers, no dick or pussy, just like Ken doll, Barbie doll syndrome down there. Makes you wonder if they have a butthole. Like, do they have to eat? They'd have to have a butthole if they got to eat. I would imagine, unless it's a whole different. Who knows? Does not matter, or does it? So anyway, Bigfoot's he's protecting his butthole. He's throwing these little dudes around. Maybe they're big dudes. I don't know. And eventually, these little alien fellas know they're gonna have to either kill him or they're gonna be dead. So they finally make it to the little to the control panel, hit a button, and down he goes. Maybe one of those little fellas fell down with him, but they drop him on the ground, and they zip off back into outer space. Head over to the next dimension or whatever the hell they're doing. It's aliens. It's all speculation. But Science Squatch now, he's seen some shit. And he comes back to this area every day. And same time, and he's wanting to come back. This time, he's not so mad. He's had some time to think about it. And he's like, hey, if we're ever going to restore glory to the Lemurians, we're going to need a little help. And it might not be in my lifetime, but hell, we don't know how long the Lemurians last. Like, they're, like a big dog usually has less years than a little bitty shitty dog that serves no purpose. So is that the same thing with the Sasquatch, where full-grown Sasquatch, do they grow at the same rate of, say, like your domestic animals, where steer basically full-grown at about 18 months? They can get bigger and fatter, but they're basically mature at that point, fully mature. So is like Sasquatch, or are they more like a human, where it takes them multiple years to mature? Where like I guess you would say like a mature fighting age male, if you're going in military terms, that's about 13 or 14, something like that. I would say, like, we'll be generous and say like 16, you're fully developed. Is that how long it takes a Sasquatch, or do they take a little bit longer, thus live a little bit longer in general? So instead of like a 75-year age expectancy, they've got like 120 or something like that. If they're twice the size of us, they go from like 75 to 150? I don't know, but this Lemurian dude, he goes back to this same area, and he's just like, we got to get back in touch with it. So, I mean, he's building bonfires at night, and he's setting up different symbols that can only be seen from the air. Crop circles and shit. Except there's no crops at the time, but maybe that's where they came from later on. They're Bigfoot in Iowa. Science Squatch is probably there. Maybe they build Stonehenge. Maybe they built the pyramids. That's also a speculation, because like, how did these puny little Middle Eastern dudes that didn't have proper nutrition or medical care, how did they build the pyramids? Did they just blow through like 1 million slaves to get it built, or was an advanced society Sasquatch built it? Did Science Squatch build the pyramids? And is there some sort of meaning to the symbolism behind the shape of the pyramid that we don't know of, a connection between Sasquatch and that symbolism? It could be, because there's also pyramids down in Mexico. I'm going to have to do some more research into this. So, what if he finally gets the attention of this flying saucer? Let's say there wasn't one that fell out with him, and or maybe there was one that fell out with him, and he nurses him back to health, as only a Science Squatch could do. and they get back in touch with the alien craft. Next thing you know, they beam old Bob the Sasquatch back up. And what if they just so happen to have a female alien? Was she hot? I don't know. Are aliens, can they be hot? Hard to tell. I can't speculate upon that. But what if they were able to cross-pollinate and you got yourself a Sasquatch alien hybrid? Now we're talking about possibilities are endless. And I would imagine that a hybrid alien Sasquatch would do some damage. So they drop him back down. Him and this little brood. Did the alien stay with him? I'd imagine she'd had to nurse those babies for a little while, and then I don't know. Maybe there's the original alien on Earth is Bob the Sasquatch's wife. Are Sasquatch monogamous? That's another one. Anyhow, now you've got an advanced civilization mixed with alien technology. And if they keep breeding, who's to say that there isn't Science Squatch among us right now? Look at Anthony Fauci. He doesn't look all that human sometimes. And he doesn't seem to be all that smart. Sure he is. I mean, he's supposedly the top virus doctor in the country. But he gives off an air of kind of just dumb sometimes. Is that the Sasquatch? Are we evolved more than the Science Squatch? I would have to think not, if they've got alien technology. But maybe he's just very bad at speaking human. And so that's why he sounds dumb. But they're also, maybe it's just a speech thing. Because they call him Fauci, even though, got some Lemurian Bigfoot last name. But the Italians are kind of a hairy people. So Fauci fits. I mean, there's plausible deniability there. And what if there's other Italians that or Bigfoot that are posing as Italians? Science Squatch Italians. I mean, there's the mob. A lot of those guys are like big fat gorillas anyways, so I mean, you can see how it makes sense. And then it ties up a lot of loose ends and conspiracies. So what if it was the mob that killed JFK? You call up one of your hillbilly Science Squatch relatives, the ones that always get sighted in Idaho and shit. Call up a Billy Bob Sasquatch and be like, "Hey, JFK guy's causing a problem. Really put a hurt into our gambling since we got kicked out of Cuba. Need you to do a little business." And so that guy on the grassy knoll, Science Squatch. Yep. Science Squatch on the grassy knoll. So when it comes to Fauci, what if it's one of his like crazy mad scientist Science Squatch cousins who he's like a trust fund kid, but he just really he's kind of a sociopath too, so he's like really into just building shit that can kill a lot of people. And he's super smart, but also just sadistic as hell. and he's got a lab. It's your cousin Yeti from over in China. Have there been any? Oh, I'm gonna look right now. Bigfoot sighting, Wuhan, China. If there's been, holy sh. Yep, they are searching for an ape man in the Wuhan region of China. Holy shit. And you know what? I bet that ape man in China ate a lot of bat soup. Probably a delicacy for the Chinese science squatch. Well, there you go. Dr. Fauci's crazy Chinese cousin. Well, that science squatch is working on gain of function research in Wuhan to solve the origins of the COVID pandemic. Science squatch. I think we got a real problem on our hands here, folks. What we don't know, what kind of weapon systems they have. That's one thing about humans is we're not real good at figuring out how to get along together, but we are really good at figuring out how to build shit to kill a lot of people or a lot of life in general. We're really good at destroying shit. Not so good at getting along. So we got to be good at destroying shit because we can't get along with each other. So, but let's see, right here, we got. Never mind. But this is from BigfootEncounters.com. Scientists to resume search for Bigfoot-like ape man in central China. From 2010. But apparently there was an organized expedition to hunt down this Bigfoot-like ape man in China in the 1980s, and the guy that led that expedition now back at it. His name is Wang Shenkai, the professor from the Department of Physics at Renmin University of China. A physics professor going after, there's a lot of stuff that don't make sense, especially when you delve into conspiracies, but fucking Wang the Bigfoot just gnawing on some bat jerky fell up to deadly disease. You know what? There's probably some humans that were just about to stumble upon his lab, and they just about figured out who he was. Who's that guy that the head of Alibaba, Jack Ma? Bet you Jack Ma was just about to expose Wang the Bigfoot and all of his nefarious gain of function research. That's why he went missing. Yep. And Wang the Bigfoot released the COVID-19 upon the world. And here we are. Just scratching the surface of Science Squatch. I don't know why I hadn't thought of this before. I don't know why anybody else hadn't thought of this before, but it ties up a lot of loose ends. Mob was started by Science Squatch. Science Squatch was on the grassy knoll. They murdered JFK. Science Squatch was probably the main guy that that organized the whole Gulf of Tonkin incident, got us into Vietnam. That's because people were getting too close to discovering Science Squatch back in the 60s and 70s. needed a distraction. Started the whole Vietnam War just to throw off the scent from finding out who Science Squatch really was, where they came from, and when were they gonna wipe us off the face of the earth? That's really the question. Not if, but when. Science Squatch is real, folks, and we need to take this very, very seriously. If you know of anything pertaining to this particular topic, please reach out to me. You can find me on all the social medias. I just look up Burnin Daylight Podcast. You'll find me at Move Your Ass on Instagram. You can find me anywhere. Go to my website, burnin-daylight.com. Get a hold of me through there. We need to solve this. America depends upon it. The world depends upon it. Science Squatch is real and simply wants to. On that note, move your ass. We're burning dead.